and I will directly share my poems, forget the biography. Between being an industrious worker bee Mumbaikar and a Susegado Goan, many a times I am asked to slow down, or I'm asked a question about my pace, maybe to do with the rat race, I don't know. But I started thinking, and the answer came in the form of a rose. So this poem, timely. Don't pick a wilted flower. Even graves are dressed in fresh ones. Heart-beating petals over dead bone. And you ask me to wait? Have you seen a rose? Red, ripe, raw like wine? Does it wait its turn in the bouquet? Its time and place is the morning, when from the blessings of a stem it oozes nectar, life juices, strumming from its veins. After that, a bookmark in the pages, memory aromas in translucent perfume bottles. Don't ask a rose to wait. There is no time in its petals, only the saga of one sunrise and one sundown. Thank you. In feministic dichotomy came my battle for bodily space, and hence this poem called Skirt, which was also made into a poetry film for the Visible Poetry Project. 1. I watch a video of women cycling in short dresses, talking of how not to flash. They wide-angle their legs, pull the back of their skirts, and with a coin and a rubber, marry it to the front of their skirts. It becomes a pant. I think of their legs in the sun, delicately agile on swerving bicycles. In the country where I live, clothes that show leg, armpit, curve of breast invite brutality, not postcard beauty. Veils, pardas, stoles, dupattas, and leggings are needed to cover up. Short skirts are not about fashion or suiting body types, but about freedom. One day we will get there, cycling in the sun on slippery, rain-kissed paths, where smaller solutions will be our search, the larger ones done. We will divide the skirt into a pant, or maybe not even. 2. The women in the video talk back. They turn and smile their gorgeous smiles. Yes, we wear skirts and show our thighs, they say. But freedom is relative, like time, like poverty. We might not get killed, but don't ever think nothing else happens to us. Did you know of the woman who walked 10 hours on a social experiment through New York and collected 108 wild propositions? Your culture compels you to hide, then show. We want that. So we don't have to be doll sexy all the time to prove our beauty, femininity. Our thighs can be our anatomy, we. If we wrap ourselves in yards and yards like in your country, we are looked at as regressed, unsexy. 3. The women in the video and I turn to you. Why should the world be telling us what is less and what is more? How we should wear what we wear in this tug of fabric of war. 5 centimeters or 9 yards, head naked or covered up, waist seen or shown. Why is the world telling us what to wear all the time? Why is this our most silent daily question? What to wear? And is it for ourselves or for someone else that we ask this? Thank you, thank you. In feminist dichotomy came the ardent confession to female desire. So this poem, 10 things I want to do to you. 1. I want to take your ears into my palms, whisper prayers so they shunk echo in the universe like a fetal heart. 2. Hiss whisper my tongue over your nipples so they turn forbidden. 3. Wide angle your thighs like Da Vinci's Vitruvian man of math to know the coordinates of your desire. 4. Suck your lips out like a black hole in a load-shedding village of burnt bulbs. 5. Rim your navel so your solar plexus awakens. Axis mundi to star dreams where gazing is not myopic. 6. Nibble the vertebrae on your spine. See the calcified fossil of your character. Sediments of battles and bullets, the wars you have won. 7. Dislocate your knees. So when you venerate, fall to the ground, you are at once martyr, at once militant, patriot, at once nationalist, character and caricature. 8. Suck in your tongue, phallus, eat your fire, wicked sensing after theatrical niceties, so you can grunt like a good strain on alternate energy. 9. Suck your toes, my sajda repentance, breaking down the temple of my body, toenails ripping taste buds, footsteps of a guttural hurricane. 10. Weave your fingers into mine. So the braille we are reading is no different from the biometrics of unity. I want to meet the city of your body, its streets and salon, underground networks of hopes, play area, dual zone, battlegrounds of despair, babies left in cots or floating river corpse. Lastly, I want to kiss the arches of your feet, locate your Achilles heels, the varicose of your journey, rumble of a hero's arrival, left foot tandav of ideology, right foot ballet of universal manifestos. Thank you.
Hello and good afternoon. My name is Sanket, Mhatre. This poem is about the city, but there's a little bit of a context. My mother was recently diagnosed with stage 3C cancer. It's a little bit of a dire kind of a disease when it happens. And what I really realized is it's not just her that she was suffering from cancer, but the city at large is also suffering from cancer. And this is what I identified in one of her chemotherapy sessions. So this is a poem about the city, a city full of sirens. On a rain-kissed day, sirens from ambulances ring at full volume, sending a shock wave through this lazy vacuum, as if the city has been diagnosed with stage 3C cancer. And all of us who mattered to her, slum dwellers, uber-rich, middle class, upper caste, lower, sub-lower, middle, sub-middle castes, converts, caste-lists, outcasts, pimps, and city planners, were all late by a minimum of 6 months in preempting this disease. Nobody took the city to an oncologist who could have CT scanned, pointed out this nefarious spread. No one bothered when her vitals had temporarily shut down. No octogenarian ruins were consulted when they screamed, she has a history. Now, water levels are rising. Her stomach bloats with one spell of monsoon, and there's no omental biopsy in sight. No cytology report collected, so everyone's figuring out which part of her abdomen could be punctured to release this flow, not knowing we had all forgotten to close the tap long ago. The city has kept a lot in her womb for far too long. Regret and debris, garbage and a festering wound. What she needs now isn't saline and drips, but a memory from the books of sunshine, an embrace from salt line and mangroves, the reassurance of leafy smiles stretching into infinity, somebody holding her hand somewhere. She deserves a Sunday with a beginning, middle, and end, an unclogging of her mind with forests of her childhood, ultimate forgiving for all traffic jams, under construction sites, incorrect sadbara, and rivers declared as gutters, a forehead filled with kisses, not goodbyes. She needs hope in her veins and laughter under her tissue. Maybe a joke from the past would work too, before she's sent for chemotherapy. Before she's sent for chemotherapy. because I've also been in this process of translation. What I really believe is translation is nothing but two languages romancing with each other. And I've tried to capture this experience through this poem. Anuvad. Translation happens when two languages make fervent love on the creaky charpoy of literature. It doesn't commence on the pure whites of serene pages, but in musty rooms on dusty bedsheets rented by the hour, creased with years of isolated destinies and skin-colored cravings. Languages undress text and strips semantics. Languages undress text and strip semantics, unbutton sentences and unzip grammar like hungry lovers. They reveal their naked selves in a never-ending gaze of two mirrored silences, sizing their own infinite possibilities. Then one language climbs atop another in a feverish teenage frenzy as if to make love. Instead, they trace one on the other with chalk-like hands on the slate of their chests, celebrating the akshar and the alphabet, the shabda and the word, redefining the age-old alchemy not known to any linguist yet. They giggle, knowing they were born from the same bird song. One language yields, her letters part to reveal their honey warmth, and the other language penetrates, infusing the scent of fresh earth of the land it came from. Translation happens when languages give each other the solace of the rhythm, when they impart not just their syntax but their faces, when they both experience a unified starburst of uncaptured meanings. They lie after this maddening rush, legs intertwined in a mesh of satiated phrases, whispering softly the million ways in which they could keep translating each other, not knowing when language took the surname Bhasha and translation transformed into an Anuvad. So they could argue and enjoy this beatific make-up sex repeatedly until a new dictionary is born each year in remembrance. Thank you.
So I had this collection come out earlier this year, Ghazalnama, poems from Delhi, Belfast in Urdu. I'm going to read from it. And some of the concerns are going to continue from my previous session that just concluded, where I was speaking about my translation of a partition diary, The Sixth River. And we were talking about how many partitions are continuing today or emerging. So the poetry that I'm going to read out is going to be a reflection on that as well. The first one that I'm going to read is called Amaltas Monsoon. Amaltas is the Hindi Urdu word for laburnum, which is this yellow flowering tree, and it blooms in the summer in a lot of areas in Delhi, and it becomes oppressingly beautiful almost. I'm also going to refer to Qais. Qais is the Arabic name of Majnu, the original given name. He was called Majnu after he became mad. And this poem was written when I thought I was falling in love, but also at a time when certain JNU students had been charged with sedition, or were being accused of sedition, and there were ongoing protests at JNU. This is a double ghazal. It's called Amaltas Monsoon. What I mean by a double ghazal will perhaps become clearer when I read. So I'll read now. Amaltas Monsoon. As crusts over hearts may bake in the season of Amaltas, our parched souls, if florid, ache in the season of Amaltas. Then unbearable yellow blooms are drenched by the monsoon. The thirst of Qais's solitude is quenched by the monsoon. In that blinding yellow haze, what did we not rake in those inflamed passions the suns make in this season of Amaltas? Did the rain then dissipate what desire did create? Did water douse raging fires belched by the monsoon? Delhi's very own harvest. For the soaked lover, what rest? Crackdowns, protests, what will he take in the season of Amaltas? Is thunder, lightning? Will the revolution be frightening? Or will all beauty, romance now be wrenched by the monsoon? You're out to find roses at the time of laburnums, Maaz. They will know you're a fake in this season of amaltas. But think of it again, Maaz. Could this be your final stance? The thick fleece of yellow fur may be flinched by the monsoon. Thank you. The second poem I'm going to read, it's dedicated to Harsh Mandar, partially, and it's called Caravans of Love, after a movement that he led, which was called Caravans of Love, which amounts to the same in English. This is responding to what the lady was earlier asking me about. Have we lost all hope, or is there a way? And I was saying that perhaps if enough people are alert to the hate that is going around and how love, active friendships can be a response to that, such as Harsh Mandar is attempting to do, perhaps that could be a way out. So the poem is called Caravans of Love. To breathe of your breath, not to die in love. Rebellion must be all, defy in love. Sameness is the bane of this life. To difference I go, to test and try in love. What are my limits? The test of your patience. I can wage holy wars. Why cry in love? Ethics of the other, all pleasures for myself. Accept, commit, care, comply in love. To see this world with not 2 but 4 eyes. When revelations all your sky in love. The faults of the moon, the heat of the stars. Forget desire, dream to fly in love. Lead caravans of love, touch people's misery. Love's bond, love's politics. Love, 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 love. Go on, forget your I in love. I think I have time to read one more quickly. So, again, JNU has been in news again, and this time around there are also simultaneously protests been going on in Pakistan, student protests that are widespread, happening across the country. And one older poet of Pakistan is being sung both in Delhi and in various places in Pakistan. His name is Habib Jalib, and he has this famous poem called Dastoor, where he says, "Aise Dastoor ko main nahi manta." This is a sort of a response poem to that. Dastoor can literally mean law as well. It can also mean tradition. So this poem is called The Law, an ode to Habib Jalib. This is not a ghazal. The law that constricts a woman to her home, turns her into a paid-for whore, prevents man from loving men, and obstructs their dietary regimen. Such a law on this murky dawn, I cannot accept. Where my speech carries more hate than that of the worst, and won't abate, come what I do, as prisons are filled with under trial lovers, if not killed, such a law on this murky dawn, I cannot accept. You say the kites are in flight again. It is spring, the cold rain of the dark at an end. You say that we have prospered beyond count, even as village trees are laden with more than just fruit. Such a lie on this murky dawn, I won't accept. I won't say that I'm not scared of the prison, for it is no longer run by a power that would listen to reason or believe in any dignity, but knows naked power, all cruelty. Such a law on this murky dawn, I won't accept. You have plundered us for hundreds of years, put us in systems of margins and gushing tears, where the mighty and many rule the weak and few. This evacuation of body and mind to curfew on this murky dawn with its law, I won't accept. Thank you.
It's a lot of poetry. How are you all doing? My name's Rochelle Dsilva. I'm primarily a spoken word poet, but sometimes I keep the poems on the page. Curved spine, your neck reaching out. I imagine, yeah? Okay. I'm gonna try to be louder. Is this better? Is this better? Thank you. Curved spine, your neck reaching out. I imagine you are curious, unaware of your effect on me. You are the original inhabitant of this space. I am a visitor. Your shape seems to shift, caricatures of possibility, yet you crumble to the touch. I have mistaken you for a peacock, wondered if you are a phoenix, imposed your imagination, my imagination, against your form. But at night, when the house is quiet, your shadow lies beside me, and I imagine you are the Loch Ness, surfacing just for me. I swear to keep the secrets you whisper into my dreams, my tongue a canvas for your memory. In my memories, you are eternal, an almost shadow of a world I must be invited to, a prehistoric colossus, now reduced to a decorative wall hanging. Thank you. So I've recently moved to Goa, and it's changed the way that I write, the way that I live, the way that I think and feel. And I would like, of course, for this to happen, for this confluence of where I am to invade who I am. And I'm trying to allow that to happen. Under coconut trees, swaying like dandelions in the sky, red earth and stones and dirt absorb my shadow. See, I am testing out this new identity, embracing my Goanness in ways that aren't as obvious. I roast cashews on an open flame, unsure of when they will be done. I smell my fingers. It is my only reward as the charred cashews turn to dust. There are many lessons here, but the biggest one is to pause, is the cliche about the Susegad lifestyle that I'm both offended by and grateful for. I am undecided of how to fit into this new box, these new dreams, this home that has been handed down to me. Thank you. I was recently invited to write a poem on the theme of climate change. It will go towards an anthology because, I mean, how do you just write one poem, right? And in the process of writing it, you do wonder if your words are any use. But all we can do is try. They say it didn't used to rain in October. They want a sunny day to lay on the beach. They want to bring back shells and memories. They say, you're so lucky. You live in Goa. How close are you to the beach? They all want to live closer to the beach. They say, why should we clean up when others litter? What's the point? If they don't care, then we shouldn't too. They say there's so much construction everywhere. Why don't you all go and protest? Protest before it's all destroyed. Destruction is dinner time conversation now. A competition on who knows more jargon, more debate than discussion. But shells nourish the beach. But high-rise apartments cause soil erosion. But if you don't have a vehicle, you can't survive in Goa. But the roads are not meant to last. But the tourists throw bottles into the sea. But they're chopping trees. But the air quality is still good here. They say everyone is so PC now. Everyone is an influencer. Everyone is on Instagram. Say no to plastic straws, segregate your garbage, learn how to compost, use menstrual cups, share memes and about climate change, share statistics, get more followers, do something. Some say we need an apocalypse, a reset, a do-over. Others say enjoy it before it's gone. From ape to human to consumer. The next generation will figure something out. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Mona Zote. I'm now from Mizoram. And it's very good to be here in Goa. And I've been having a lovely time. And this is, it's great always to be among poets. I would not say fellow poets because today I'm not feeling very poetic. It's very warm. So I'll be reading out a few poems. One is an old one, and it's called Res, which is short for reservation. Which is which is actually a term that Native Americans use for the reservation lands they live on. And this was written when there was a school shooting actually in America. And so I just, I was just reading up on the Native Americans who were living on that land. And it occurred to me that there were some similarities or parallels between reservations and the states of the Northeast. And as I said, this is an old poem, which I'm just going to read briefly. Res, a boy and his gun. That's an image that will do to sum up our times, to define the red lakes and razor blade hills of our mind. Out here, this place never changes, never will. We will keep choosing gray salt, bad roads, some thin yellow flowers to grieve, alcohol over friendship, cash for peace, God's grin of despair. If you think I'm starting to regret sticking around and kicking at the tombstones, if not pulling out the AK-47, remember, the water lilies will bind you back. So, trench coat, angel of death, bring meaning to life through death, through an intimate, if facile, study of pain, and those other mental stuff like drawing and pictures of war and people getting shot, and houses pulled down, heads shorn, traditional law, custom, culture, junkies, runners, bootleggers, scum, scum, scum. We too have spent our brutal spring exacerbated by a long tradition of self-enforced isolation, continued into a cold-blooded summer. I feel nothing, I fear nothing. We said it wasn't intentional, and the grasshopper susurrus of our blood tells us how you feel almost an ability to be worse than what you are. Perhaps this explains why today, in the middle of my room, a black hole soundlessly spins. Look, kid, thank you for the demonstration, and don't forget to take your angel home, even if you don't feel like going back to school. And if they ask you about life on the reservation, if they say they want to hear about stilt houses, and the dry clack of rain on bamboo, and the preservation of tribal ways, give them a slaughter. So that's one section of the poem. Sorry. I'll be reading something that I wrote rather more recently, and this was recently, meaning some years ago. We know that we have been facing some rather troubled times in our country. And this was written after an incident, a terribly brutal incident on a train where a young boy was killed for being Muslim. This is called Poor Boys. I have been thinking about you, Junaid, thinking about how someone said, make a noise, be witness to this moment. He was madder than hell, you bet. But I ask you, Junaid, as you lie in an untidy heap, why would I write about you when I know there will be others following you close behind? We will see more boys, the poor boys. We will hear the laughter, the banter and clatter when they pile through the door, rushing out and straight onto newspapers that the rain will mulch by night, or that a mother used to wrap a couple of sweets that she bought against your return, boy. And now a fat black fly sticks to their sweetness, as if charting an unblinking eye. The sun slumps on. There will be more boys and flies to cover them. Having lost the comfort of cigarettes, I remain contemplating these fingers, clean and free of stain. Thank you.
I think we have just a few more minutes. If there is a question or two, we could take them. Yeah. I don't see any hands. Keki there, I think, in the front.
You can have a comment as well. You don't have to have a question. It's okay. No pressure.
Since many of you have been talking about partition or partition after partition, not actually partition on the borders, but partition in the society, as you were talking about Junaid, and you were talking about protests in JNU, or what, as poets and authors, you people will say to the atmosphere that we have right now, the environment that we have right now about othering of anybody who says anything that is not suiting me right now. Like if I don't agree with you, I'll say that you are wrong. Not engaging in a conversation, just taking a side, a clear dichotomy. What do you have to say to this? Do you feel that, because many of you are engaging with this topic, so before this session also, the session that you had, so just this.
So because I'm an academic also, and I'm a translator, in the previous session I was talking about this partially too, and you were there, so you've heard me a little on it. I think the rest we try to say through poetry, and some of the poetry that we read out reflects, of course, upon society and how we feel in it. And by writing such poetry, we are trying to draw attention of people, of all the people who would read us or hear us, to these concerns and create the dialogue. That's what it's really for. I did my PhD work, for example, on E.M. Foster, and he wrote the novel A Passage to India, saying that he intended it as a little bridge of sympathy across the colonizer and the colonized. Today, the colonizer and the colonized are different, and we are still trying to create these bridges for dialogue and sympathy.
Not to make a light about the situation, I think it bothers every one of us, wherever we might live. I mean, I come from the northeastern region, and we get this news. This is not the India we knew, that we grew up in, so on and so forth. And really, I mean, we have to fight back against that so that we can go back to writing about, love and romance or something. I think that answers the question, or is there any other comment?
One very important thing that all of us feel at this point in time is because there is a lot of dissent, because you're not able to take a side, or if you take a side, you're kind of marginalized or whatever. But that's the reason why writers, poets, artists should definitely come together, and this is the reason why a literary festival like this becomes all the more important, because this is the place where you can safely feel that you can voice your opinion, you can feel, you can be who you are in your skin without being judged or marginalized. So I think, as writers, poets, we should be the frontliners who should be saying this, that, hey, it's absolutely okay to have an opinion about something without fear. And that's something that we should definitely practice.
That is something that many of us face, and because we don't want to take any of the sides, so we are speechless. We are silent because we cannot say this or that. We are used to living in between.
You know what? Once again, poetry can help you take that side. Okay, if you do not want to openly take that side, you can say it through your poetic expression, and it is still valid. Although I do believe that, yes, you have the freedom to take sides and not take sides, be silent, everything is fine. But the fact is, even if you do, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, that's what I genuinely feel.
Thank you.
I disagree slightly. I don't want poetry to become prescriptive either, personally. I would rather that, time is out, we are being told. I would rather that each poet, of course, writes as they deem fit, and therefore we are each voicing our own version of the truth, let's say. But I think a lot of poets, in their aspiration for beauty, also try to aspire for truth, to an extent, at least. And while trying to do that, they are giving commentary and critique of things around as well. And perhaps just sharing that with the reader may have the opportunity to take a side. You can't, of course, hold a person by hand and make them take sides, and that is not the purpose of poetry either. But you can try to create sympathy.
I think that's our time.
Just as we move, I wish that dystopian fiction never became realism, and also that the in-between sides is the best side from which you actually get a 360-degree view and really hop heads, to see many perspectives and then decide. So it's good that we don't arrive at either here and there, but we continue the debate. We need that space, and that space should be celebrated. Thank you so much.
Thank you. If I may